The final episode of the series kicks off with ultimate chaos. The army is deployed to a hangar after reports of multiple gate failures and massive breaches torn through the structure. Amid the chaos, a commander and one of his men escort the on-duty security guard away for interrogation. Inside a confined room, the soldier seizes the guard by his uniform and slams him back against a metal cell. Terrified and shaking, the guard insists he did nothing wrong and swears he never touched the controls. Furious over the damage and the apparent security lapse, the soldier demands to know whether the gates are supposed to open on their own, as if by some kind of magic. Unlike his subordinate, Dr. K remains calm. She questions whether the incident could be the result of an anomaly, something unusual but not necessarily caused by human error. As the operation is set into motion, the team makes their final preparations. They're driven to the site in a truck, and Murray swings open the back door, urging everyone to move fast, warning that an entire dimension is on the verge of collapsing on them. Hopper steps out first, followed closely by the others. Before moving on, Mike pauses 11 and watches her face, quietly asking if she's okay. She meets his eyes and gives a small nod. Mike admits the plan is reckless and that for it to work, everything has to fall into place, even though so much could and likely will go wrong. Still, he tells her he believes they can succeed. Overwhelmed by his words, 11 pulls him to a tight embrace, holding back tears. As 11 steps away from the vehicle, she looks back at Mike one last time and smiles before joining Murray, Colley, and Hopper. From a distance, Sergeant Akers watches them through binoculars, surrounded by armed soldiers, and declares that their targets are in sight. One of the soldiers beside him begins reporting the situation over a walkie-talkie, but the device is suddenly yanked from his hand. He's sharply questioned about what he thinks he's doing. The soldier explains he was trying to alert Dr. K, only to be cut off with a remark that she has a god complex and that he should stay quiet. At the same time, Henry comes face to face with the children he has taken captive. All of them are trapped in a dreamlike state, held there by Vecna's ritual. Holly is among them. Within her mind, she and the others are restrained, completely subject to Vecna's will, as everything unfolds exactly the way he intended. High above, at the top of the church, the science teacher sits with Erica. He quietly asks if she thinks the others will be all right. She reassures him they're safe for the moment, though the most difficult part is still ahead. The teacher lowers himself onto the step beside her, and Erica asks how he's holding up. Confused by the question, he asks what she means. With complete certainty, Erica talks about helping save the world and the role she's playing in it. Her confidence eases his nerves, and he admits he's actually feeling pretty good. They share a smile, but it's cut short when a line of military vehicles pulls up outside the church. Armed soldiers storm into the church, while Dr. K slips toward the side entrance, where she spots a WSQ truck. Within the WSQ office, Vicky detects a sudden disturbance in the energy readings. Sensing something is wrong, she grabs a walkie-talkie and contacts Robin, asking her to let her know whether the interference was caused by their team and not those mutant lunatics. Robin answers the call and reassures Vicky that it was indeed them, telling her not to worry. When the group reaches the base of the tower, Lucas scans the area through his binoculars and reports that he sees no evidence of a hostile moving planet. Jonathan points out that the task ahead won't be quick and suggests they divide into two teams, ascending the structure carefully using both stairwells. Following his lead, the group splits up and begins their slow ascent up the towering structure. At the same time, Murray pours gasoline into a generator, working quickly to bring it online. Nearby, Hopper moves through the bunker's corridors with 11 and Colley. Colley gently asks 11 if she's all right, but 11 can only respond with a silent nod as she steps into a room filled with painful memories of being a child treated like nothing more than a test subject, and of the moment she was placed inside the water tank when the nightmare truly began. Moments later, Murray throws a few switches and power hums back into the facility. Hopper thanks him and instructs him to head up to the roof, warning him to handle the C4 carefully so it doesn't detonate while they're still inside. He tells him to take position and hold fire, stressing that no one is to attack yet. Once he receives confirmation that the planet is near, he'll initiate 3 rapid strikes, while 11 focuses on dealing with Henry. Hopper adds that he's counting on Dustin being right and that the planet will stop moving. 11 asks Hopper not to pull her out if something goes wrong, not until he's certain Henry has been destroyed. Hopper looks her directly in the eyes and asks for her word, saying that if the plan somehow succeeds, they'll walk away and Dr. Kelly's agenda can be dealt with later. 11 agrees with a nod, accepting the promise. With that, she readies herself to enter the tank, and Hopper gives the final order for her to end this once and for all. Back at the WSQ office, Vicky impatiently asks Max why everything is taking so long.
Max answers honestly that she has no idea. Clearly on edge, Vicky remarks that stress always makes her hungry and decides to grab something to eat, asking Max if she wants anything. Max declines at first. Vicky heads toward the kitchen, but moments later, Max reconsiders and calls out asking her to bring something after all. When she looks down the hallway in the direction Vicky went, she realizes Vicky is no longer there. Alarmed, Max pushes her chair forward and begins moving down the hall. Her body feels different. She looks down at her hands, then cautiously tries to stand. To her shock, she succeeds. Taking a few careful steps, she notices water pooled across the floor. At the same time, Vicky comes back, but she stops short when she sees Max still seated, staring ahead as if deep in thought. Elsewhere, Max exits the WSQ office and finds herself surrounded by darkness. Suddenly, 11 and Kali approach her, greeting her as they come into view. As the team arrives at the summit of the tower, sudden crimson bursts light up everything around them. From their vantage point, they see a massive planet gradually lowering itself from the sky. On the rooftop, Murray witnesses the same terrifying sight and immediately radios Harbour, confirming that their hypothesis was right and that an enormous planet is moving toward their position. Harbour asks how long they have left, and Murray answers grimly that time is short. Within 11's mental space, the three of them watch Vecna sleeping in the darkness of the abyss. Max questions why they don't destroy him right there, and then Kali explains that he can't be harmed in this place. 11 reaches out, takes Vecna's hand, and the three are pulled into Max's memories from years earlier. Moments later, 11 feels Hopper's signal, 2 slow taps, warning her that the chasm is on the move. 11 quickly asks Max whether Henry's house is close. Max admits she doesn't think it is, and says she has no idea how many of them are out there. Kali reminds her that she claimed she could open her mind to them. Max agrees, but points out that her head is filled with millions of memories. Then, a realization hits her. With sudden determination, Max tells 11 and Kali to follow her as she leads the way. Back in the real world, Vicky stays close, keeping watch over Max's physical body. Suddenly, she spots military vehicles pulling up outside the WSQ office, with Dr. K among them. Soldiers move in and begin sweeping the building, checking every area and believing it to be empty. What they don't realize is that Vicky has already concealed herself and Max behind a concealed wall, hidden away inside a secret room. At the summit of the tower, Lucas realizes that the very tip isn't perfectly lined up with the rift, so if the planet collides with it, the tower will probably collapse. He quickly alerts Harbour to the danger. Harbour asks how much time remains, and Dustin responds, about 30 seconds. Meanwhile, inside 11's mind, Max guides them through a memory of a play. When Harper's signal reaches 11 again, she tells Max that they can't wait any longer, they need to act now. Max nods, insisting it's the only way forward and urging 11 to trust her. Meanwhile, the planet slams into the tower with a tremendous force, nearly bringing it down and putting the team in immediate danger. Back inside the memory, once the play concludes, Max instructs the others to pull back the curtain, revealing Henry's mind, where he sits at a table surrounded by the children. Seeing the danger, 11 intervenes, ripping him from the ritual and throwing him out of a window. The children awaken from their trance, but the team remains exposed. The impact shakes the tower violently, leaving Steve hanging precariously from a platform. Before he can fall, Jonathan reacts swiftly, grabbing his hand and saving him from a deadly drop. Relief washes over the team as they realize they are all alive. Lucas quickly grabs the communicator and reports to Harbour that the chasm has stopped moving and that 11 succeeded. Back in Henry's mind, Max rushes to embrace Holly, who beams with joy at seeing her, and says, "You came back for me." Max, equally thrilled, promises she will never let Holly go again, but urges that they must all leave together. Suddenly, one of the children screams, warning the others that the monster is coming and that they need to run. Max steps forward calmly, assuring the girl that it's not the monster and that she can trust her. Henry reappears in the house, enraged at the sudden disappearance of everyone, and notices 11 approaching. She tells him it's over and that the children are safe, with Max far away. Henry grabs her, insisting that everything she needs to know is inside her mind. What he doesn't realize is that Kali has created an invisible curtain, making him believe the space is empty. All the children are hidden behind this illusion with Max. They watch closely as Henry reveals his true form and attempts to extract information from 11. Max warns the children that everything Holly said was true and that they must escape immediately. As Henry goes deeper into 11's mind, he begins to see through the illusion and rushes to the table, only to find everyone gone. 11 rises from the floor and hurls Henry onto the table. Kali moves in with a knife to finish him off, stabbing him, but in that instant, Henry vanishes. Both girls exchange a worried glance, realizing the battle isn't truly over. 11 and Collie reunite with Max and the children. They admit they couldn't kill him, and Max warns that he will likely return to the real world, urging them all to flee to the cave immediately to stay out of harm's way. Meanwhile, in the real world, Hopper is momentarily deceived by Vecna's projection and fires at him, only to realize that his bullets pass harmlessly through the tank where 11 is standing. Spotting what appears to be blood in the tank, he immediately smashes the glass to pull her out, successfully severing the connection between 11, Collie, Max, and Vecna's mind. Before he can finish, Max instructs Holly to lead the children to the cave. Once they are back in reality, Hopper quickly understands that 11's injuries were an illusion. Vecna had tricked him. Max, having returned to his own body, lets out a scream that reveals their location. Soldiers, accompanied by Dr. K, soon arrive and locate Vicky and Max. They begin sweeping the structure, discovering the team's setup and operation plans, unintentionally exposing all of their secrets. Meanwhile, the children reach the cave, but Holly immediately notices that Derek is missing. She rushes back to find him. Derek, worn out from the chase, pauses to catch his breath, and a portal suddenly opens behind him. Holly catches up, urging him to snap out of his daze and keep moving. They have to hurry. From the portal, Henry emerges, searching for the children. Just as Holly and Derek are about to enter the cave, Henry seizes Holly's leg. Summoning all his strength, Derek forces Henry to release her, leaving the villain furious and stranded at the cave's entrance. At that moment, Derek showed him his beautiful finger and invited him to taste his fat one. The children embrace, overwhelmed with relief at finally being safe. Yet, despite the weight of his painful childhood memories, Henry's eyes burn with relentless determination as he slowly advances into the cave. The team, standing at the edge of the abyss, sees William suddenly collapse, rendered helpless. Meanwhile, Holly hears Henry's anguished cries and hurries toward the source of the noise. Observing her resilience, how she has overcome her traumatic memories and made it into the cave, Holly commands the children to run, urging them to escape before it's too late. On the other hand, Will alerts the team that he's witnessing visions of Henry. He quickly lets them know that he has located Holly and the other children. Mike asks if he can see 11, Collie, or Max as well, but Will shakes his head, explaining that they are alone. Holly, showing remarkable courage, guides the children toward the opening in the cave. Robin calls out to Will, asking if he can use his powers to slow Vecna, and Will responds that he'll try, but they have to keep moving. Meanwhile, soldiers reach the location where 11, Hopper, and Collie are hiding. A helicopter hovers overhead, emitting a piercing sound that instantly paralyzes 11 and Collie. Hopper reacts quickly, grabbing 11 and carrying her to safety, leaving Collie frozen on the ground. Once she regains a bit of control, 11 asks Hopper about Collie, but he doesn't answer, though he knows he must go back for her. Collie struggles to move, crawling along the ground, but a soldier intercepts her and cruelly tells her that her friends abandoned her. Defiant, she spits in his face, forcing him to call for her capture. Just then, gunfire erupts from Hopper, who takes out the soldiers threatening her. As he moves to rescue Collie, another soldier strikes him on the head, knocking him out. On the other side, the children navigate Henry's memory tunnel, with Holly at the front guiding them. She reassures them that nothing they're about to encounter is real, and that it can't harm them. They just need to keep their eyes on her. Taking the flashlight, she leads the way through the twisting passage. Along the way, Holly retrieves the metal rod she had left behind on her previous visit, a weapon she plans to use to protect herself from Henry if necessary. Meanwhile, Hopper and Collie are ambushed by soldiers. One of them demands that Hopper reveal 11's location, but Hopper calmly insists he doesn't know what they're talking about. In a cruel move, the soldier fires at Collie, who is lying on the ground, taunting her by asking if she thinks this is a game. From the roof, Murray readies the grenades. Before the soldier can strike Collie again, Murray throws a grenade at the helicopter overhead, causing it to explode and destroying the device, emitting the paralyzing sound. The blast momentarily frees Collie, but the soldier still manages to shoot her. 11 reacts instantly, incapacitating everyone in the area and forcing the soldier to accidentally fire himself in the head. Rushing to help Collie, they tried desperately to save her, but despite their efforts, she doesn't survive, and her body remains on the ground. Meanwhile, Holly bravely faces Henry and manages to strike him with the metal rod, leaving a visible wound. Enraged, Henry grabs her and throws her to the ground.
Just as he is about to strike again, the weight of his own trauma overtakes him. He is forced to relive the moment from his childhood when he was first shot, and the pain hits him as though he is being shot all over again. Watching this unfold, Will tells his mother that he must be trapped in a memory, admitting that he is terrified by what he's experiencing. On the other side, once they reach the rooftop, 11 and Harbour reunite with Murray. He breathes a sigh of relief, grateful to see them safe. But when he learns what happened to Collie, regret and sorrow flash across his face. 11, peering down at the chasm below, announces that she can jump across. Harbour hesitates at first, doubting the plan. But when 11 looks him in the eye and says, "I trust you," his doubt fades, leaving him momentarily speechless. Meanwhile, Henry, still trapped in the vivid recollection of his past, experiences each memory as though it were happening in real time. It becomes clear that the object in the briefcase was actually Vecna's incarnation, using Henry as a vessel by entering through the bullet wound. The man Henry had once struck with a rock warns him that he must resist Vecna, or the entity will consume him, and through him, everything else. Before he can respond, the boy under Vecna's control ends the man's life. Kneeling on the ground, utterly broken, Henry speaks to Will, who assures him that it wasn't truly him. It never was. Henry, desperate and angry, asks Will to leave him alone, but Will insists that this is exactly why the Mind Flayer didn't want him in the cave. Henry needed to forget, to be left behind. Will reminds him that he was just a boy then, a boy who had only been used. He points out that Henry is no different, merely a vessel, and pleads with him to help them fight Vecna. Henry pushes back, insisting it isn't true. He claims he was only shown the decay of the world, never fully controlled by Vecna, and that he could have resisted but chose to align himself. The Mind Flayer awakens suddenly, forcing the team to flee as it lunges toward them with terrifying speed. In an instant, it corners them, but 11, acting quickly, throws a rock that strikes the creature. Seizing the moment, she bravely charges forward, grabs the spider-like form and severs Vecna's connection, initiating a fierce battle. The team quickly formulates a strategy. By damaging the Mind Flayer, they can simultaneously harm Vecna. Dustin suggests splitting their attacks, hitting from both flanks to chip away at its strength. Lucas adds that one of them should lure the creature toward the canyon, while the others position themselves on the rocks above for a coordinated assault. Nancy volunteers first, drawing the Mind Flayer's attention and firing at it while guiding it toward the canyon. The rest of the team opens fire from every angle, shooting, stabbing, and setting the creature ablaze. Each attack inflicts real damage on Vecna himself. 11 channels her powers, subduing him and nearly eliminating him, but Vecna reacts, trying to grab her arm in defense. Just before he can reach her, Will intervenes, taking control of his mind and confronting him directly, declaring that he doesn't scare anyone. With Vecna temporarily subdued, 11 is finally able to strike, bringing him closer to defeat. After the Mind Flayer is defeated, Nancy rushes into the creature, wrapping 11 in a tight embrace, relieved to see her unharmed. Spotting Holly nearby, she hurries over and carefully frees her, managing to wake her up, and the two share a heartfelt hug. Meanwhile, the rest of the team moves quickly to awaken the other children who, overjoyed to be safe, cling gratefully to each of their rescuers. But just as the group catches their breath, Vecna's body stirs, moving slowly on its own. The team cautiously approaches. Will and Joyce arrive, witnessing the unsettling movement firsthand. Filled with righteous fury, Joyce grabs her axe and with a powerful strike severs Vecna's head, reminding him that he had chosen to mess with the wrong family. Brief flashes of traumatic memories ripple through their minds, but they know the nightmare has finally ended. As they begin to leave, Harbour contacts Dustin, who reassures him that everyone is safe. With that, Murray begins the final preparations to detonate the site and destroy what remains. Afterward, the team leaves the site together, guiding the children and, finally, feeling a moment of relief, but it's short-lived. When they reach the military base, the soldiers and army, who had set traps, quickly subdue every member of the group. Mike tries to defend the children, shouting for guidance, asking what he should do to get them out safely. 11 warns him that nothing will end if she stays. Mike, desperate to reason, insists that they will find a way to resolve it. They will fight just as they always have. 11, tearful and determined, asks Mike to thank the rest of the team on her behalf for their kindness and for teaching her the meaning of friendship. Mike pleads with her not to, but 11, almost desperate, insists she needs him to understand her choice.
She hugs him tightly, and Mike begs her not to leave. Both of them cry, and 11 quietly confesses that she loves him. They share a final heartfelt kiss before she brings Mike back to reality. 11 then waits as the device detonates. A massive sphere of energy erupts, sending shockwaves that obliterate everything in its path. The team screams in despair, fearing the worst, but 11 remains calm and still amidst the chaos. In an instant, the devastation halts. A profound calm settles over the scene, and when the dust clears, everything has been reduced to rubble, signaling that the nightmare is finally over. 18 months later, Hawkins has largely returned to normal. The town's streets bustle with life, its buildings fully restored, and hundreds of residents go about their days happily. Robin is back at her radio studio, giving updates on the events that transpired. With a laugh, she notes that there are no more soldiers, fences, or security cameras, and instead people are smiling, enjoying movies, and living freely. Meanwhile, Steve has taken on the role of technical director for a small kids team, with Derek among its members. Robin reflects that the town doesn't feel quite like the Hawkins she remembers. It seems different somehow. But she realizes maybe it's not the town that has changed, it's her. Perhaps everyone has changed, especially her friends who are graduating today, marking the passage of time and the transformations it brings. The class of '89 is taking the podium today. To celebrate, she posts a song online and plays it on the radio. Meanwhile, Max is skiing when Lucas interrupts her, warning that if she broke a bone, she'd be on her own. He doesn't want another trip to the hospital. Max tells him she actually prefers being alone, and teasingly asks what he's wearing. Surprised by the question, Lucas replies that graduation is happening today. Max corrects him, noting that's still 2 hours away and joking that he's getting ahead of himself. In that moment, they lean in and share a passionate kiss, letting the joy of the day and their connection take over. Dustin spots his mother, who's taking a photo of him, and they share a warm hug. He reassures her that he'll be a short trip away. With tears in her eyes, his mother tells him she knows, and Dustin adds that he'll be home with her whenever he has free time. Meanwhile, Will, Hopper, and Joyce are taking pictures when Mike's mother calls, frantic because she can't find her son. At the same time, Mike sits alone in a chair, lost in thought, when Hopper approaches and tells him his mother is worried. Mike struggles to articulate his feelings, saying he still doesn't understand why 11 made that decision. Hopper listens patiently, then reassures him that what happened wasn't his fault. He explains that Mike has two choices. He can either hold on to the guilt, believing it was his fault for disappearing and causing pain, or he can try to accept what happened and find a way to move forward. After some time, Mike arrives at the graduation party, finds his mother, and apologizes, explaining that he had panicked. At the ceremony, Dustin steps up to give a heartfelt speech. He reflects on the past year, saying that his childhood and everyone else's had been stolen, and that it had been an incredibly difficult year. He shares his love for Dungeons & Dragons, explaining that in the game there are two kinds of chaos: bad chaos and good chaos. Bad chaos brings destruction, anarchy, and war, while good chaos can spark innovation, growth, and positive change. Dustin found himself forming friendships with people he never would have expected, and he wasn't the only one. Many others also found connections across divisions. He concludes that he is a better person now, shaped and strengthened by the friends he's made and the lessons they've shared. At the restaurant, Hopper proposes to Joyce, and she accepts it. That same night, part of the team gathers to play Dungeons & Dragons. After an intense game in which they defeat the evil wizard, Mike finally reveals the truth. He thinks 11 is still alive. Mike shares a theory that before that explosion, Kali created an illusion to fake 11's death, and that 11 is still alive somewhere, living under a new identity happily. They all smile, holding on to hope that 11 is still out there. Max remarks, yes, it's just a theory. Will asks, how can they be sure it's real? And Mike admits he doesn't know. He's not certain, but he chooses to believe it. The whole group imagines it with him, tears glistening in their eyes. At that moment, Mike's mom calls them for dinner, and everyone gets up, packing away their game to head upstairs. Before following, a group of kids, including Holly and Derek, sit down to discuss Dungeons & Dragons. Derek sniffs the air and asks if someone farted. The kids argue and laugh, and Mike watches them for a moment, nostalgic, a small smile on his face. Then he heads upstairs and closes the door behind him, leaving the children to their laughter and games. And the Stranger Things series ends right here.